Nerima Wako is in every sense a powerhouse, young, ambitious, and not afraid to raise the storm. The Razor-sharp political analyst is the executive director of Siasa Place, an organization that's dedicated to educating the youth about the constitution, governance, and electoral processes. Siasa Place does this through community engagements and social media. Coming up next.
It's unbelievable how far we've come. It's unreal. Do you even know anything about politics? My first time on TV, I'm being asked, did you listen to anything I said? Or I'm smart. I enjoy reading, and I've always liked that. He used to want to be an artist. He wanted to be a singer.
Are you married or are you single?
On Twitter, someone would be like, now why is this chick keeping her hair like a makanga? It's not possible to be a political organization in a divisive country. And it makes me so happy. I'm just like, I'm very tomboyish. Are you here for entertainment, or are you a singer, or what? I'm like, no, I'm here to discuss politics.
Born in Nairobi, Nerima studied at the Aga Khan High School and later went to Jacksonville State University for her undergraduate in journalism and sociology and mastered in public administration. It is here that her passion for politics blossomed.
I was studying broadcast journalism and public administration. I focused on governance for my master's. I think life just happens. So when I went to school, I really believed I was going to be a doctor. I did. I had the brains, as I used to be told, and actually even now, my uncle sometimes still calls me Daktari. And so here I am thinking I'm gonna be a doctor, and I did a job shadow in high school, but it didn't go so well. So I knew by the time I was going to uni, by the way, medicine is not for you. But when I got there, I didn't quite know what to change to, and I didn't know when. So when I started off, I would take biology, I would take chem, I would still take the classes, and I would pass. And I'm like, now I'm passing this thing, but let me just think about medicine, really. Why don't I want to do it? But I was doing comms at the same time. So when I ended up doing more and more comms classes, I was like, no, comms is me. I don't even have to pretend. I look forward to the class. I enjoy the assignments. Like, comms is me. So I finally just decided in third year, I am going to do journalism. That's it. And so I told my family, and they were a bit like, hey, now this journalism, like with all your brains, really, you know. But I still did it. So when I graduated, I was back to now what? I didn't really apply for a job, and so I was still in the States, and I was like, you know what? Let me just finish school. Let me just do a master's, because if I come, take 1 year break, I will not go back to school. I know myself so well. I have too much energy. So I was like, if I get out, I'm out. So I end up applying for a master's program in the same school, and they only had scholarships for particular fields. So one of them happened to be public administration. So I picked it, and I was like, at least this one talks about government, history. I can see myself liking this class. And so now when I graduated with my master's, I ended up interning for an NGO in Washington, D.C.
Who exactly is Nerima Wako?
I am married. I've been married a year and a half now, and my husband is called Billian Ojiwa. He used to want to be an artist, he wanted to be a singer, and sometimes for laughs, I go on YouTube and just watch his old videos and make me so happy. My morning routine. The first thing when I open my eyes is just I say thank you God for another day. And then the second thing I do is get ready for work. I will look at a bit of the news, what's going on, because my work involves a lot of the political situation, so I need to know what's changed, if anything, and understand what's going on in our country. And then I'll of course go change and everything, and then I'll have breakfast. But I normally take about an hour before I do all these things, because somehow I end up doing other things. I end up trying to clean. I don't know why. Even my husband is always like, you, every time we're in a hurry, we have to go somewhere. That's why you want to start arranging, putting towels. I don't know why. But in the morning, like before I leave the house, I like to make sure it's in an order. With everything I do, I've put a planner in my phone. And I'm like, from this time to this time I'm doing this time to this time I'm doing this. So that I know that even something as simple as 8 to 9 before news, read a book, it's in my planner. Because I must schedule time for me to rest. Time with my friends is scheduled. Like even tonight, I'll be like, I need to hang out with Alice. And I'll put it in my phone. Or I need to have lunch with Michael, because I feel like it's just as important as my job. If I'm talking to somebody, I won't have my phone, because I want to make sure I'm connecting with you. So even sometimes when I'm doing my interviews on television, you'll see people grabbing their phones or taking selfies. You will hardly see me doing that. I also have a husband who he tries to understand. He tries to hear me out, and he asks, what can I do to help? Or what do you need me to do? How can we make things easier? On Sunday, it's family day. Sunday, it's family day, and we both say that. And so if we're going to church, we'll have lunch with cousins or aunts, but it's family day. Of course, for future, I do want to be able to have children and things like that. And these are things I've thought about. So I've thought about flexibility, delegation, and planning, because I am a good planner. Life should be balanced with work. I don't think, the way people say a woman can have it all, it's either family or career. I don't think our careers should be so intense that it completely removes you from family.
Nerima strongly believes that young people need to be involved and actively engage in the politics.
I am in youth programs, I enjoy it, so I sort of stumbled upon it. And it wasn't that I had the degree for it, it was just that I had the passion. And so I stayed there for about 6 months, and fortunately, they decided to open an office in Kenya. So I moved back home to start up that office. So now when I'm in Kenya, the program, I feel like we're not doing enough with youth. And I say, you know what? I want to be able to have a space that focuses on youth. That's it. Youth and governance. And that's it. And so we started off with conversations online. I would talk to about a few of my friends about the idea. They supported, they came on board. So all of us are volunteering. So we used to have chats online. The chats began to grow. People are like, why don't you have this in Nakuru? Come. They invite you, it's growing. So you're like, you know what? Let's formalize this thing. It was not easy. We decided to register as an organization, as an NGO. That took a long time. And then money, which now you don't have. So you're over here collecting na changa, and you want to be called siasa place. Really? And then you're not even a political party. You're like a youth group. So you're being asked, are you trying to start a revolution? What is your end game? Nyinyi vijana. And so it was challenging, because you have this idea and people can't see it. You can see the vision, it's very clear. We obviously need it because we have a constitution that youth just don't get. There's no one teaching it to them. They obviously needs to be a mechanism. It was obvious, but it wasn't so obvious to everybody else around us. And so this year, Siasa Place will be 4 years old. And so it's been 4 years, of pushing and prodding, and now we are growing to where we have 200 plus members. We have offices like members in 10 counties. We're pushing policies in Kericho. We're supporting youth in Busia. We have representatives in the county assembly in Samburu. So for me, it's just being able to see young people getting information, educated on it, and then building on top of that, arming themselves and using that to advocate for themselves. So I'd say for me right now where I sit, it's unbelievable how far we've come. It's unreal. And the number of people who told me it's not possible to be a political organization in a divisive country, there were many. There were more of those than those that said it's positive, it can bring positive change. And so for me, I think our very existence shows you that dreams can come a reality. And you might be the only one seeing it at the time, but there will be a handful who will also see it and support you to see it. And so I would say, don't give up. And especially being in a space where you're a woman, and then people start, do you even know anything about politics? My first time on TV, I'm being asked, are you here for entertainment, or are you a singer, or what? I'm like, no, I'm here to discuss politics. And for me, it's for not just young people, it's for young women to see that you don't have to look a certain way to understand the politics of this country. You don't. And just to be involved in that conversation and to force yourself on that table. Because me, I forced myself. The name, first of all, Murabwa, a friend of mine is the one who came up with it. And he said we should call ourselves politics because people like to pretend that they don't like it. You know, they're like, siasa, spendi siasa. But if you look at our country, we can compare our politics to the Oscars of America. We are so concerned. What did these politicians say? What happened with this one? Hey, drama. Where did they go? What do you mean? Ruto and Uhuru are not friends? What do you mean? Like, Kenyans live and breathe politics. It's a fact. And so we wanted to be able to change the negative view of it. We wanted people to learn, young people to learn, that politics is every day. Politics concerns you. And if you don't do anything about it, things will only get worse. So we wanted to sort of make the word siasa not as negative as young people think it is. They need to understand that it's everyday life and they need to be involved, hence the name. But when we first came up with it, it was rejected. It was rejected. And we were told you cannot call yourself siasa, and it can never be used because Moi is the only one who uses it. Siasa poa, maisha poa. And that happened in the 90s. And I think I was 2. So I'm like, why are we still discussing this? Because Moi was uncomfortable with having youth use that word. So he banned even student councils, anyone discussing politics. But we're still living it today. So I went back to my board, and luckily my board are very, very, I would say, I wouldn't call them radical, but strongly opinionated people. And they said, no, you're gonna keep that name. That name is yours. You're not gonna tell this government that I'm changing my name because they want you to change your name. You change. You're not gonna change that name. So we end up fighting for that name, a push and pull, until in the end I was like, if it's going to take me going to court, we will go to court. And so when they realized that we were very serious about this name, that's when they just permitted it to pass. And that's the thing young people need to realize. It's not that things are not there. It's just that sometimes we have to push those doors open. But if there's no one pushing and being persistent, it's never gonna be opened. And that's just the way things are in our country. And so we have the name now, and I would say that there was a moment I almost quit. I did. I almost wanted to change our name because it took a year of this back and forth, and I was like, there's so much we could be doing, but I'm wasting time with keeping this name. And my team is the one who said, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You are our boss, and we're here because we see the vision that you have, and we're not gonna let you quit. And that same day, we received our certificate. And so sometimes it's amazing how things happen, but it's also important to have a really strong team. And that's something that I didn't get to this level on my own. I have a very hardworking young team. None of us is above 35. None. Zero in this office. And so it can show you that young people are capable of doing work that is well coordinated, well organized, accountable, and transparent. And the first time I ended up on TV as an analyst, I had actually written. I write a lot. And so I had written all sorts of articles. I used to write to Nation all the time, complaining about this, saying this, youth people need to be here, youth. And so one day, Nerima calls me and he's like, Nerima, you know, we've been reading your articles here in Nation. And I'm like, but you guys are not publishing me. You're just reading them internally. And he's like, I think you're good, but let me see if you can speak as well as you write. And that day, 2 years ago, around this time, was the first time I appeared on the trend with Nerima. And he looks at me right before we go on air and he says, I'm putting my neck out for you. They don't understand why I've brought somebody young to discuss political issues. We don't know who you are. We don't know where you've come from. So you better speak well. And then after that, the rest is history.